Great. Okay. Thanks, Fernando. Awesome. So yeah, it's great to see such a good attendance for this webinar. Thanks so much for everyone for joining. I guess usually how we generally run these sessions is we have a sort of one-to-one session and kind of drill into the pains and tailor this demo. Obviously, we've got a lot of people from different backgrounds and different industries, from software engineers to customer success managers, CEOs, on the call. So I guess we'll probably just sort of go through a very business user friendly example of how someone could typically use Looker on their day-to-day job. So with that being said, I'll actually just start from my email inbox, as most of us do at the start of our day. And this is genuinely something that I use myself, that I've seen a lot of customers using, coming to an email that's been arrived from Looker in the morning to see, things that have gone on in that day. So if you imagine, maybe I'm a sort of distribution manager for an e-commerce an e-commerce sort of company selling clothing, and I've come into my inbox saying that, good morning, Ciarán. Looks like there are a few orders in Chicago that are stuck in processing, and it's come from the data guys, I guess. So I can kind of see, okay, this comes straight from Looker. We got an image after emailing out to me and being backed by data. Got days in process for particular orders that just look a little bit heavy. So I can kind of jump straight into the Looker platform from here and sort of start to drill into that data and see what's going on within the business. So we're on that browser-based application, like Fernando said now, and we're just looking at that particular report that was emailed out to my inbox this morning. I'm kind of a bit concerned, I guess. I've got 9 days in process for a particular order, and got Alicia has ordered a pair of jeans or whatever it might be, pertaining to your business, and that's looking like it's being held up. So I can kind of go and from here take immediate action. I can kind of drill into this data and find out maybe a little bit more about that particular customer. I can go to a customer lookup dashboard to see, is this a very valued customer? Is it a new customer? I can see Alicia had her first order in January of this year. She's only made 3 orders this year, but I guess, we're only in April. Total lifetime spend is $71. And her previous orders have actually gone through relatively quickly. So she might be a little bit worried as to why this particular order is taking a while. So I'm obviously concerned as a manager, and operations manager, don't want to have a risk of a churn. I can email that particular customer from the platform itself, maybe send out a promotional code to Alicia so that she is kind of going to return to our service. We also have multiple different integrations within Looker as well. So, I don't want to handle all of these customers myself. I might want to send out a Slack message. If anyone on the call is using Slack internally, or whatever messaging app you have, you can integrate with that and maybe get another part of the team, maybe Sev or someone from the customer support channel, just to handle the rest of these orders. Cool. And now, I guess because these orders have kind of taken so long, I don't want to have to sort of be notified by the data team every single day what's going on here. I kind of actually just want to be notified, keep an eye on the processing times for the next couple of days. So I can go straight and just have a schedule sent out, an automated email similar to the one that we just saw in my inbox, just to send to me maybe every morning when I come in on specific days of the week, or just on weekdays. Have it go out in different time zones into maybe a particular group, and have it sent in multiple different formats. So we just saw an example of inline visualization. I could have that as a CSV attachment or a text attachment. And even actually, I because these particular orders have been taken care of for today, I don't really want to see them again. So I only want to receive new results. I want to see kind of, okay, is there any orders that are taking too long tomorrow or the following days? So have that kind of set up on an alerting basis. I can even then go and maybe, okay, I'm the distribution manager for Chicago. I want to actually set this report to go out to all distribution managers and for it to run to only show the data that's pertaining to their area. So maybe, someone in Ireland, for example, only gets orders that are being dispatched from Ireland. Someone in California only gets Californian-based orders. So lots you can do in terms of taking action on the data itself. So once I've taken care of that, I can go back to my normal morning routine, I guess. I can come straight into the homepage for Looker. We get a rake of different dashboards that I've saved that I regularly use, and different dashboards that are suggested by me. Maybe my colleagues are using these particular dashboards a lot. I'm just going to look at Business Pulse dashboard and see how my business is going today. So here I'll just take a step back and kind of talk a little bit more to sort of what Looker does here, what we're really trying to do with data in comparison to some of our competitors. So like Fernando said, we're completely browser-based application, accessible anywhere in the world. You just need an internet connection and your Looker login details. All built in HTML5, so we're completely web responsive. If you're looking at a mobile on a tablet, anything like that, everything will resize and reshape to fit those different devices. That also makes us super easy to embed within other applications, like Fernando said, or even into customer-facing portals, which is a very, very common use case for a lot of our customers. All of the visualizations for any of the technical people in the room, they're JavaScript D3, and we're also moving to high charts this year, so there should be some really interesting updates in terms of Viz, which we're all actually very excited about. But out of the box, you do get a wide variety of visualizations, everything that you really should be expecting from a modern BI solution these days. Everything's kind of hoverable and interactable, and of course, filterable. I guess one thing to note at this point, though, is with our architecture sort of just sitting there on top of your database, that allows us to really drill in and get to real-time results. So, I can have this returning data as soon as it's available to me in my database. I'm not having to wait for, an extraction of the data to do analytics on it from there. So we can really get real-time results from Looker itself. And then, of course, in terms of interacting even further, we can drill in. We can kind of maybe look at orders by day, by category. I can go into a particular day where there's been a spike into the hours of that day, and bring me to a different type of visualization. I can then go to individual row level detail. So I can kind of really drill down as much as I possibly want to. I can then link out to a variety of different places. I can go to maybe the Levi's website in this case, and dynamically, or I can kind of go off to a brand specific dashboard, or to Facebook, or drill even further. So we'll go into the brand specific dashboard in this case, see how Levi's as a brand is actually doing for us as an e-commerce site. So 2,883 customers, average order value, and loads of other different types of analysis going on here for a particular brand. From there as well, I can download these results. I can take them, into Excel or CSV, multiple different formats. I can just open them in the browser and kind of explore further into detail what's going on. So that's all sort of like very well and good, and probably fairly familiar in terms of any that are used to using kind of current dashboarding tools. A Looker, I think what we really aim to do is enable business users not to be restricted by what an analyst has created for them on the front end. Not only have the dashboards that are made for them and the drill paths that are defined, but be able to sort of click into any of these tiles and edit charts and visualizations as much as they please. So I can click into this maybe total spend by cohort and kind of edit that visualization as much as I want. And kind of, then save that to my own personal space or anything like that. So this is within our self-service layer now at the moment. And I'll kind of just explain what's going on here. So essentially within Looker, our analyst has gone and created this visualization. They've picked different fields and dimensions and measures from this field picker on the left to create it. But now what we want to do is try and enable business users to also have those options, also be able to come in here and make changes and sort of pick what they want, as opposed to it only being available for the analyst team. So the analysts are kind of getting all of their knowledge into the system. They're saying, okay, we've got all of these different tables in our database. We've got distribution centers and inventory items and order items, and kind of, right down to the user information. They've just gone and told Looker at a high level how all of these different tables interact with each other. So, like how does distribution centers actually inevitably join onto inventory items? What is the different business logic that is inherent in those tables as well? So how do I calculate total gross margin, or how do I calculate stock coverage ratio? Maybe I want to give a tooltip to the business users as to how that calculation was done as well. Having repeat purchase rate or something like that. So you're really opening it up to the business users to allow them to really dive into this data and explore things for themselves, and not having to rely on that data team to produce results for them. So I can go ahead and I can just change this viz as much as I want. I'm looking at months since sign up and kind of how we're doing with that on total sales price based on when people have joined. I can kind of edit the visualization. I can add maybe some formatting. I can kind of add a couple of different things in here to get something maybe a little bit different in this case. So I couldn't really tell much from the previous one. I wanted to see, okay, since May last year, we started off pretty low. It was pretty dark red here in terms of how we were doing, and we thankfully improved a lot. But also, as the months have gone on since then, we're now into kind of March of this year, our total sales price in that very first month of sign up is a lot better. And we kind of really see how we progress as a business. Now, obviously, it would be a pain if I had to come in here and recreate these visualizations every single time. So I can kind of go and save those as an individual visualization on its own. I can put them onto my own personal dashboard. Again, I can download the data. I can set it up as an email alert or a trigger. I can maybe say, okay, as soon as a sale goes in above a certain threshold, have that email me immediately. I can just ping over the URL to a colleague, and they'll be brought directly to this screen I'm looking at. I'll just save it onto a dashboard for now. So then I'll just say a new tile. I'm going to put it in my own personal folder, or I can put it in a company shared folder. Just put it in a personal folder and create a new dashboard. So I can now come back to this report anytime I want. I've got it saved. I'm not sort of having to go and get, the analyst team to create something new for me, or to add something to an existing dashboard. I can create my own dashboards. I can have my own reports set up, which is super powerful. And then draw back down into those. From there as well, I mean, it's really, really key for us, and Fernando's brought it up a lot, is that kind of governance layer, and self-service has very much become a little bit of a buzzword within the BI space at the moment. And that's because, people are becoming a little bit more data savvy, data curious, and ultimately the people that are making decisions really need to get to that data fast. And there is one problem with that, I guess, is that, when you do have any of these different measures and metrics, you want to be sure that the way they're being calculated is defined properly. So say maybe if I come in here and take total gross margin, I want to know that no matter what way I slice and dice that data, that it's going to be correct. I'm not going to get any sort of mistakes. And that's really what Looker delivers for the analyst team. They have this complete layer of governance where, I can trust that, when a new kind of business user comes in and they maybe want to take gross margin and filter it on the last kind of couple of days maybe. So I'll take maybe a filter on the last 90 days of data and break it down by the hour of the day, that, when they run that report, total gross margin is going to be calculated correctly. When they kind of go to a user table and they maybe pivot it in the same way that you would in Excel by gender, that pivot is going to work appropriately as well. And that's really the power of Looker. Everything that is defined within the Looker modeling layer is defined in one solitary place, and that really is the only place it can be defined ever. So I can kind of make new reports. I can trust that they're correct. And again, I can save them to sort of those dashboards that I want to keep. So I'll put that onto that new dashboard that I've already created. Cool. And then you can just edit those dashboards as much as you want. So generally, we would jump into that particular modeling layer at this point. I think obviously we're a little bit short on time. So I think kind of just generally, hopefully it's come across the way that we would typically use data, and how that governed layer hopefully speaks to some of the technical people on the call that, as opposed to rewriting SQL over and over again to define different metrics, and kind of have them repeated across different dashboards and different reports, we do define them in a solitary place. This will serve as your data dictionary for your business. And, if you ever have to go in and make a change to any of these calculations, so make a change to total gross margin, we have a fully GitHub integrated environment in the back end. So, it's industry standard version control. You can go and test out any changes, and it won't affect any of those reports, any of those new dashboards that have been created by our business users, until you're happy that the changes are accurate. And you can then push out those changes, and they're not just affected, they're not just kind of take effect on those high level dashboards that we were looking at the start. They'll be kind of rolled out for every single scheduled email report, every single new dashboard or report that's been created by our business users, or even our customers in a lot of cases. So if we want to enable our customers to have analytics and create their own reports, you have total control over that kind of workflow. And then I suppose the one last thing I'll kind of just cover today as well is, we do completely integrate with a lot of different applications, Slack being one of them. We find that as people become a little bit more data savvy and a bit more curious about the data, we can kind of go in and sort of ask Slack directly from the tool, maybe generating an e-commerce funnel and kind of get results straight back from the application itself. We've also seen, that data actions being used in really interesting ways, for example, within sort of AdWords campaigns. So as opposed to, you trying to figure out, is a Google AdWords campaign working appropriately, or is it efficient? Actually make those decisions driven on data and go straight to an AdWords campaign, from the platform itself. Turn off an AdWords campaign from the platform itself. So lots and lots of different options there in terms of what you can do on a strategic actions kind of front with Looker itself. Cool. So with that, I think I'll hand back to Ahmed, for any closing remarks and take any questions.
Before that, we actually had one question from the audience while you were speaking, Ciarán, and it was a question about deployment. Mm-hmm. So maybe we can talk through that a little bit.
Of course, yeah.
Sure. So typically, a Looker deployment really begins in a proof of concept. And this is something that we offer for free before you make any purchase decisions. And we actually put a lot of resources into our proof of concept. You'll work directly, or one of your analysts would work directly with Ciarán and I. We'll sort of project manage, aiming to hit technical milestones during a 3-week engagement. And during that 3-week engagement, we find that our prospects and customers are very comfortable by the end, making a decision as to whether or not Looker is the right technical fit for them. By the end of 3 weeks, you'll generally have about 40% of your data model built. Again, our goal is not really to build a static data model. It's more to transfer the knowledge to your analyst team so that they can iterate and build that model over time as your business requirements evolve, as they naturally will. Post proof of concept, post purchase, we have, as I mentioned before, varying levels of service, but most often you're fully up and running within 6 to 8 weeks. And if you count all of that together, we're talking about 10 to 11 weeks between beginning of the engagement and full working deployment, especially if you've got experience with some of the larger BI tools. I think we'll all agree that it's pretty phenomenal time to value.